Hi guys, welcome to Learn Tech from Zero. Today we will be covering another CCNA topic, which is server. So today we will be discussing about the role and function of a server. So let's start the video. So what is a server? A server is a computer system or device that provides resources, data, services, or programs to other computers called clients over a network. In a client server network model, the server's main job is to listen for requests from clients and respond with the appropriate service or data. So clients they request servers and servers they responder they reply back with the responses. If you're new to IT, all these technical terms might scare you, but in simple terms, the server is just another computer. So, for example, when you access something from YouTube, let's say from your own computer, so it's a client. So your computer is a client. So your computer, your mobile, your personal devices, so any devices that you use to access resources, like resources such as watching a video is a resource, downloading something is a resource. So if you're using any device to access resources, so those are called clients, like mobile phones, laptops, tablets, etc. And then server is just another type of computer, but they are way more powerful than your regular computers. So for example, if we talk about servers, so this is an enterprise level server. So a normal server can look like a tower PC like this, but a normal computer can look like a tower PC like this, but in an enterprise level, people use way more powerful server PCs. So, for example, this is the one that you normally use in a enterprise level. This is still there can still be more powerful devices than this one, because this one has 250 GB of RAM. So imagine your computer itself, you might have 4 or 8 or 16 GB of RAM, but servers they're like another computer. It's just they have different operating system, but they are way more powerful. So their job is to provide resources to the clients. So this is what server means in simple ways. So a server is a computer system. So for example, when you use Windows 10, so your laptop is a client, and when you are basically Windows, you have a Windows server. Let's say you have Windows Server 2022. It is a server because a client, a user uses a server. It provides services to users. So a single person do not use a server. Server is to basically give resources and to multiple users. Okay. So the role of servers in a network. So what's the main role of a server in a network? So they're centralized management, control and manage users, devices, and network resources. So for example, a Windows server, like in a normal work environment, you guys might know there is a Windows server, and with Windows Server, you can connect different laptops. Like you can connect 10, 15, 20, as many laptops as you want. You can create users, and then those users can use those credentials like the password and ID to log into those laptops. So this is for centralized management. So you can with servers, you can control a large number of users, devices, and network resources. Like your server can be a DHCP server, like providing IP addresses. Your server could be a DNS server. It's basically translating IP addresses to a website's name. So it can have different function. So so servers, it's basically for centralized management. So you have everything in one place, and you can manage it in large numbers. Data sharing, so store and distribute files, application, and databases. Security enforcement, apply authentication and authorization policies. Resource optimization, handle large workloads and share computing resources efficiently. So server is a place for central management, using managing large users, devices, and network devices, storing large files, and it distributes files, applications, and databases. So and then security enforcement, apply authentication and authorization policies. This could mean two different ways. So it could apply authentication and authorization policies to users, and even to for you to access a server, it will authenticate, and it will authorize you. You don't need to know too much of this. This is just to help you out. So resource optimization, handle large workloads, because because a lot of users and computers are connecting to that server, and then using the computer's resources, so it can handle a large workload. So the common types of servers. So we have file server, web server, DNS server, DHCP server, email server. So for example, a Windows Server 2022 can run all these servers in one in one machine. So you can run all these servers in one Windows operating server. So let's say Windows Server 2025. If you install Windows Server 2025, you can install features and roles for file sharing, web server, DNS, DHCP, email server. So you can run all these different servers within a server, or you can just run each types in different servers. Like you can, instead of if you basically if there is a large enterprise where they're dealing with thousands and thousands of users and computers and devices, it's ideal to have different servers for every um, type. Like for example, you should have a different server for DNS, different server for DHCP, different server for authentication, etc. But when it's just a small enterprise, everything is in just one Windows server. This is you might see commonly in schools, or small businesses, where they have just one Windows server. That Windows server manages users, computers. It has DHCP to provide IP addresses. It even has Exchange for providing email addresses and maintain, so etc. So you don't need too much of this in details. You just need to know what is a server, the types of server, how they fit in a network. You should just have a good understanding of what a server is for the time being. All right. So server, so there can be a hardware server, or there can be a software server. So a hardware server is these ones. So these are hardware server. Okay. So they can have multiple CPUs. So CPUs, normally in your computer you might have just one CPU, but in a server they might have multiple CPUs, so that they can process more things. ECC memory detects and corrects memory errors. If there is if there's an issue with the RAM, it fixes it. So because if there is a problem with your laptop, and if there is an issue with RAM, you might have to restart your device. Or if there's an issue with that, it's not going to affect the whole company. But if when it's a server and it's managing the whole business, or a big company, you need they have this thing, ECC memory, where if there's an issue with the RAM, it fixes it. You don't need to do too much of it. Don't worry. It's just this is just for good understanding of what server is, and a bit more extra details to give you a really good understanding. Nothing else. And then RAID storage. So a server might have a lot of hard drives, and RAID is something we will cover in the future. But RAID is something where you basically um, have different hard disks And you can create redundant, like if one fails the other will take over. You can create backup of your data within those different devices. So there are ways to handle multiple hard drives. So this is RAID. This is another technology that we'll cover later on. So redundant power supply. So if there is one power, it might have like multiple power connections. So one of the power fails, the other power will take over. High-speed network cards. So that those physical ones, they have fast internet card for accessing really fast internet to have fast network connectivity. Software runs on server operating system, so Windows Server, Linux server distribution, VMXC, or there is another one called Hyper-V. So instead of you having separate servers, you can actually get a really powerful server like this one. This one has 250 GB of RAM, and you can allocate, let's say, 20 GB of RAM and create multiple servers within this one physical server. So in this one physical server, you can have like 10, 15 different servers, and you do this with the technique called virtualization. I have already covered virtualization in TikTok and YouTube. So if you want to know what virtualization is, you can go have a look. Like for example, let me show you. So this computer, you can see that right now I'm running Windows 11. It's just a normal computer. It's not like a very powerful machine. So you can see that within this computer, I'm running another Windows 11 using Hyper-V. So it's a software server. So you can have a software to create multiple servers. So you can see that I have Windows 11 operating system on top of my existing Windows 11. So right now I have two Windows 11, and I also have Windows Server inside. So if, like for example, I can create more, but because my laptop is not that powerful, it doesn't have enough resources. It doesn't have enough RAM or the power to manage multiple virtual machines. That's why I can't do it. Like for example, let's say if I have 200 GB of RAM and there's multiple CPUs, I can create 10 or 15 different operating systems. I can create 10 or 15 different servers to to basically control all these different servers in just one machine. This is very typical. This is very typical in a work environment. Where I used to work before, we used to have just one physical server, and then we had Hyper-V manager, and then we had all the different servers like DHCP, and the actual domain controller for managing users and computers, and there was another server for for databases, etc. I hope you get my point. If you have any questions, make sure you leave a comment. So that's what the difference between hardware and software servers. So these are the hardware servers, and you can use softwares to create multiple operating systems, multiple servers within that existing server. All right, let's just go. What's a physical and virtual server? I've already explained. Dedicated and shared servers. I've already explained this, but I'm going to explain it again. In a small business environment, a shared server means it's running everything in that one PC, one server. In Windows 2024, let's use an example. Windows 2024 server, it has let's say domain controller, DHCP, DNS, everything in small business. So everything is within one physical machine, and it doesn't have separate virtual machines in it, and it's just running one Windows server. So that's called a shared server, because that server runs a lot of services, separate services in just one machine. And dedicated servers are when you have separate machines, either physical or software, and they all have different functions. One of them is running DNS, the other one is running DHCP, etc. Okay, server role in enterprise network. You don't need to know this so much. It's just I always try to provide more information. You can also go further down and you can find, I'm not going to cover this though, but if you go further down you can see how those servers fit into different network architectures. So we have three-tier architecture, we have two-tier architecture, we have spine leaf architecture, and how those servers fit in those architectures. This is just a bit extra information you don't need to know, but it's for people who are curious. So let's just go. So let's just use one example. In a typical three-tier network architecture, if you don't know what network architecture is, what if you don't know what three-tier is, there are many videos, and it's not very important for CCNA exam to know where the server lies in a three-tier network. But if you know this, it's good. But if you don't know, then don't worry about it too much. In a three-tier architecture, you have access layer, distribution layer, and core layer. But server normally fits in either in the distribution layer or in the core layer. That's it. You don't need to too much in details. I don't want to complicate anymore. Server placements and access. Servers are commonly stored in data centers or server room. So, for example, this is a data center. So this is where, hold on a second. So this is a data center. So a data center with full of with a lot of racks and cabinets, and you have a lot of servers all over the places, or you can just say a data center, the server room in a small business, server room, small office. So these are like the small server rooms that you can find in small business environments. Not these ones. Let me just show you one. Like these ones. These are like tiny server room. So these are data centers. Sorry, these are data centers, and those are server rooms. So servers are commonly stored in data centers and server room with controlled access, so that not everyone can just go in, and has good power and cooling system. The servers room, they need to have a certain temperature, so they normally have AC to control the temperature, and they often connect to network using gigabit. So they need to have this fast connection. So they normally have this 1 gigabits per second or um, 10 GB per second speed. Access to servers is controlled using ACL, firewall, and AAA. So access to servers, like for if anyone wants to log into the server, access control is basically you can control, you can, if someone, this is, we're talking about remote connection to the server. So ACL is like they can control who can remotely log into the server. So you normally implement this in a router or layer 3 switch, or you can control this using firewall, or there is a model called AAA, Authentication, Authorization, and Accounting. So when you log into the server, you have to authenticate using a password and ID, and then it authorizes it finds out that what sort of access you have. And accounting is anything that you do, it will log it on their system. So that's what server placement and access in general. This is just extra information. You don't need to know too much about it. Security considerations, because as servers are critical targets in networks, so it must be protected. Servers are one of the main important part of the network. So for example, if a server gets attacked, the whole network will just collapse. Nothing will work. So you need to make sure that the servers are protected. You normally protect them using strong authentication. So there should be like a password and credentials to access them. the, Again, this is not something that you need to know. It's just for general information. Regular updates, you should always regularly update your server. And there should be rules and segmentation on firewalls, creating separate rules, and making sure that the access to the servers is very secure. You should always back up your servers. and you should have disaster recovery systems or plans. So if there is a disaster, how would you recover from this? So either have different systems or plans in place. Intrusion detection or prevention system. So it's called IPS and IDS. They can be either a software or hardware. So this is like they're like firewalls, and therefore detecting and alerting if there is something wrong, or if someone is trying to access, or if something is weird going on. And so that's it. I don't want to go too much in details. If you want to learn more about servers, you can go to our website, Learn Tech from Zero, and you can also watch them on YouTube and TikTok. If you have any questions, you can just leave a comment, and I will make sure that I explain it to you. Yes, I was rushing, and I just wanted to quickly finish it. So if you have missed out something, if you don't understand something, just leave a comment and I will get back to you. So that's it for servers, and I'll be back with the next video, which is PoE, which is power over Ethernet. So you normally how to provide electricity or power to devices without connecting them separately to a power socket. We will explain this in details in the next video. So thank you for watching, and I will see you soon.